Kuzuzambo and a very warm welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program with me, Ishi Gelson. In our top stories this week, the government requests immediate and thorough investigation into the Labour Ministry's training programs. The government will soon introduce non-subsidized LPG to cater to the increasing demand in the country. The government has requested the Anti-Corruption Commission to undertake an immediate and full investigation into the various training programs of the Ministry of Labour and Human Resources. The Office of the Prime Minister issued a press regarding the matter last week.
The press release states that the investigation has been requested based on several informal complaints the Prime Minister's office received on possible incidences of corruption and collusion by the Labour Ministry, particularly in awarding contracts relating to training in India and Japan. During the Friday meet today, Prime Minister Rashid Singtopkia said, in order to ensure independent investigation without any interference, the Labour Minister requested for leave until the investigation process is completed. For the national interest, the Prime Minister accepted the Labour Minister's request. Along with it, the Prime Minister will take full charge of the Labour Ministry with immediate effect. He will hold the office till the ACC completes its investigations. Sonamongdi for BBS News.
The opposition leader, in a letter to the Anti-Corruption Commission last week, requested the Commission's intervention on alleged duping of public in Serang by the People's Democratic Party workers. The letter states PDP party workers operated as fake agents of the Rural Enterprise Development Corporation Limited and duped people by promising loans and illegally collecting fees.
The letter to the ACC states out of the 12 geoks the opposition leader visited last month, people from 10 geoks requested the opposition's intervention. The letter also has signatures of 25 people who have given names of 4 PDP party workers who contacted them for farmers' loan at 4% interest rate.
We have requested the ACC to investigate and see if, first of all, this is legal or not, that anyone can operate a scheme like that on behalf of a government agency, and then see whether the people who have applied for the loans could be provided with the loans that they have applied for, and also and if that is not the case, they should at least be refunded for the not just the fees but also the expenses that they have incurred in applying for the loans.
The Prime Minister at the Friday meet today said that he asked the Office of the Attorney General for a separate investigation regarding the opposition's complaint.
I have asked the Attorney General now for an investigation, a separate investigation, to see if any laws were broken, and I have authorized the Attorney General to charge sheet any person who may have broken any law, regardless of what party they belong to, without consulting me.
The opposition also requested the ACC to take legal action. The party added that the people raised the matter to the Prime Minister and the Agriculture Minister. No actions were taken. Sharab Dorji, BBS News.
Bumdeling Wildlife Sanctuary in Trashi Yangtze recorded an increase in the number of black-necked crane arrival this year. Proper cleaning of roosting site is attributed to this trend.
So far, 97 black-necked cranes have arrived in Bumdeling, which is an increase by 6 cranes as compared to last year. More are expected to arrive. This time, Bumdeling, the migratory habitat for the cranes in winter, was cleared of tall bushes near the roosting areas.
Both the Bumdeling wildlife officials and locals collaborated to clean the roosting area every year. And this year, we cleaned it more extensively.
Black-necked cranes feed on grain drops in Yangtze and Bumdeling geoks. And locals in these areas refrain from planting winter crops as cranes have to feed on the grain drops.
Since there are less grain drops in the paddy fields, we started feeding extra grains from this year.
This time, the first pair of black-necked cranes came from Bumdiling in November last year. After almost 4 months, they leave for their habitat up north in March. For Tsiringzam in Tashiansi, Sharab Dorji, PBS News.
Thimphu police arrested close to 600 suspects in connection with drugs and drug-related cases last year. This, the police say, is the highest number of arrests the office has made in such a case so far.
Thimphu police recorded 287 cases related to drugs in 2017. Most were related to abusing and trafficking of Spasmoproxivon Plus capsules. Police seized over 50,000 SP Plus capsules. Other cases included abusing solvents, marijuana and Corex, among others. Police forwarded 166 suspects to the district court. The rest were sent to the Bhutan Narcotics Control Authority for treatment and other necessary interventions. Meanwhile, for this year, within the first week itself, Thimphu police arrested 15 suspects for drugs and related cases. Of it, 8 suspects are under detention, while 7 have been sent to the BNCA. Almost 1,700 SP Plus capsules and over 80 Nadrasan tablets were seized from the alleged individuals. The cases were intercepted through tip-offs. For Changadoji, this is Sringdandu, BBS News.
The government will soon introduce non-subsidized liquefied petroleum gas. The move is to cater to the increasing demand for LPG in the country.
Currently, each household gets to refill 1 LPG cylinder a month. But once the non-subsidized LPG is introduced, consumers can avail themselves of such cylinders in addition to the non-subsidized one whenever required. During the Friday meet yesterday, Prime Minister Rashid Singh Topke said the Economic Affairs Minister put forth the proposal to the Ministry of Petroleum and National Gas in India during the Petrotech conference in 2016. The Government of India has agreed to supply 70,400 non-subsidized cylinders every month. The cost for refilling a non-subsidized LPG cylinder is estimated at 815 gitam, which is 278 gitam more as compared to the refilling cost of a subsidized cylinder.
If those who can afford actually do buy commercial gas, like I said, if you use 2 cylinders a month, it means an addition of only 550 milligrams a month. But that would go a long way to ensuring that the supply of subsidized gas to those who actually need it, that can't afford commercial gas, is uninterrupted.
According to the Economic Affairs Ministry, the institutional users who are currently availing themselves the subsidized LPG will be discontinued and issued with non-subsidized LPG. The business entities will be strictly monitored through periodic inspections. At present, the Indian government allocates a monthly quota of 700 metric tons of subsidized LPG for Bhutan. Although the government says the supply is sufficient to cater to all consumers, its shortage is evident. This is attributed to hoarding, increasing number of households in the urban areas, and using subsidized cylinders for commercial purposes. Also, since last year, the government introduced a scheme to provide LPG cylinders to the rural community. Today, 63% of the rural households have LPG connections. Sonamongdi for BBS News.
Varieties of crops native to the people of Buli in Jamgang will continue to exist. They now have a gene bank to store the seeds of such crops that are on the verge of disappearance. Seeds of locally available and produced crops as old as 200 years are stored in the gene bank. 28 households of Buli Sanam Nyamsung Detsen are involved in the initiative.
The initiative is to preserve our seeds. It is also to revive and research the locally produced seeds of crops which are important and then sell it to other zonkaks.
The seeds are native to our place. It has been there since our grandparents' time but later started to disappear. Now with the gene bank here, we can store such seeds.
As of now, 38 different local crop seeds have been stored in the gene bank. It is mostly varieties of cereal crops. The Agriculture Extension Officer of Nangkor said, Buli is a place with potential to produce many more varieties of seeds since it has been a host to an array of agricultural farming practices for generations. The United Nations Development Programme funded the storage project, which is the first of its kind in Jamgang. Compiled for Pema Samdrup in Jamgang, Yishe Gelson, BBS News. Thimphu Tromde has introduced one-window bill payment, a system to ensure accountability and create a responsive customer service delivery. The initiative is in line with the government's move towards providing efficient public service delivery.
The payment is now done through a single source to curb favoritism and speed up delivery of public services.
Earlier, when contractors submit bills, it took almost a year. Therefore, they were left without receiving timely payment. But with this system, every individual is accountable for completing their work on time.
The counter receives the bills from the contractors and suppliers. The bills are then validated by the respective sections to make the payment. With this system in place, the contractors and suppliers no longer have to run from pillar to post to receive their payment. The system also saves time as an exact time frame is given to make the payment.
The mobilization advance nalu tangachina one window bill payment gi counter nalu.
For example, regarding mobilization advance, we have to verify their checklist in one window bill payment counter for 1 day. After that, the checklist will be submitted to the engineering section. In engineering section, they have to finish all works within 5 days. After that, it will be sent to the accounts section and they have to finalize the bills within 5 days. If we cannot pass the mobilization advance, then we have to look into the system which section failed its duty.
The service currently focuses mainly on bills related to constructions in procuring IT equipment and other construction materials. For Pemasong, Sonam Phuncho, BBS News.
The Education Ministry will provide a laptop each to all the teachers by the end of the 12th five-year plan. The decision was taken during the annual Sherry Conference held from 27th till 31st of December in Jamgang.
Each teacher will get a laptop each by the end of 12th five-year plan. The Education Minister Nobo Ongchuk, during a press briefing, recently said the laptop would help teachers plan their daily lessons efficiently. According to the Chief District Education Officer of Thimphu, all schools in the country will have internet connectivity by the end of 12th five-year plan. So providing a laptop each to the teachers will enhance the teaching capacity.
A laptop is a portable device that can easily help our teachers to improve their capacities of planning better lessons, accessing better information, more relevant information, and therefore in that manner would enhance their teaching capacities. I think the students will also reap more benefits compared to the teachers, because then the students will get to understand the lessons better, because the teacher is able to prepare better through the use of laptops, especially accessing information from the internet.
He added that the laptop will enable teachers to have access to a wide range of resources through the internet.
The morals of our teachers will be boosted, and they will, I'm sure, work even harder, and their performances will increase. Many of our teachers still work with papers and pen, and these are repetitive jobs, works, tasks, and therefore it requires a lot of time. If teachers have this access to laptops even at their homes, they would be easily able to do their work, and definitely this will enhance their effectiveness.
The Dzongkhag education officers proposed to provide a laptop each to the teachers during the Sherry Conference. Choni Dama for BBS News.
Sustainability continues to remain a challenge for private newspapers, particularly Dzongkha papers. Since the advent of private newspapers in the country, 5 Dzongkha papers came into being. Today, only 2 are in existence and are struggling to stay afloat. In this story, our reporter Pema Sewang finds out why sustainability, which has been an issue right from the inception, continues to plague Dzongkha private newspapers.
After about 7 years in operation, Druk Yezer closed down some 2 months ago following cancellation of its license by the Bhutan Infocom and Media Authority. It is the latest Dzongkha paper forced to call its quit.
As per the license terms and conditions, they are supposed to come out with the certain number of circulation per paper, which they have failed miserably for a very long time. And BICMA have given them a lot of time to rectify that. Despite giving time to rectify that, they have not been able to comply with our directive.
Druk Yezer is not the first Dzongkha paper to shut down. 3 others met the same fate not very long ago. And going by the current situation, Druk Yezer may not be the last one to disappear from the newsstands. Several factors are being blamed for the early demise of Dzongkha papers. Poor readership is seen as the root cause.
There are not many who read Dzongkha papers. The shopkeepers who sell our papers say only a few buy our paper. If the trend continues, it will be tough for us to sustain. We earn very little, but on the other hand, we have to make huge payments to our staff.
Just to get a sense of how poor the Dzongkha readership is, I talked to Minarai, who keeps local papers in her shop for sale. Because only a handful buys Dzongkha papers, meeting the circulation requirement remains an uphill task. Smaller circulation results in fewer advertisements, which means less ad money.
People buy papers not just for news, but also for ads. Dantak, for instance, gives their ads to different papers on a rotational basis. If ministries and agencies could follow the same trend, it would help improve our readership base and therefore solve the sustainability issue.
For the readers, it is a lot easier to understand English. This echoes the larger issue of English overshadowing the national language. Sonam Jamso makes it a point to read newspapers daily, but only English.
I studied in India, and also most of the subjects in schools are taught in English. So I feel comfortable reading English newspapers. Usually, I find lots of difficult terms in Dzongkha newspapers.
Druknechel and Gelchi Sarshok, the 2 private Dzongkha papers currently in business, are fighting odds stacked against them to survive. Initially, Druknechel began with 2,000 copies weekly. It wasn't long before the paper was forced to scale down to 500 copies. Similarly, Gelchi Sarshok started with 1,000 copies. Today, the paper just prints 200 copies a week. They fear a day might come when they would be forced to stop printing at all. It has been a rough journey and the future looks pretty grim. The private Dzongkha newspapers say their survival would depend on a host of factors, the most important being inflow of advertisements. They believe the government can play a big role in it. For Pemachong, this is Sharab Dorji, PBS News.
If you formula feed your baby and have no clue what amount you're feeding, then it is likely that your baby might become overweight. Research in an international journal show excessive formula-fed babies have increased risks of obesity in early childhood.
Formulas are preferred choice of working mothers. But are these formulas as good as a mother's breast milk? Well, debatably no. A research study compiled in an international journal, The Archives of Disease in Childhood, identified risk of obesity in infants resulting from excessive formula feeding. Archives of Disease in Childhood is a UK-based international peer-reviewed journal that aims to keep pediatricians and others up to date with advances in diagnosis and treatment of childhood diseases. Dr. Yoriko, a pediatrician with the National Referral Hospital in Thimphu, said obesity resulting from formula feeding is also likely to increase risk of non-communicable diseases later in a child's life.
Bottle feeding because of the teats easy to suck, so that baby will suck easily and drink easily and then become more overweight. So formula feed has always, there's a risk to become overweight and obese, and obesity and overweight is a known cause of hypertension and diabetes and all those non-communicable diseases. So that's how the breast feeding is the best food to prevent all those things.
She added that formula feeding is only recommended if a mother cannot breastfeed due to health problems. Phukem for BBS News.
Well, that's all for this week. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, this is Ish Yalson saying goodbye.